Don't forget to leave food out for the wild fragments of silicon.
All right, welcome to another installment of Fragments of Silicon. Also note, do not actually leave food out for wild animals. That will kill them.
Oh yeah, of course, but fragments of silicon aren't animals. They're constructs.
Robots. Yeah. Anyway, I'm your host, Adam. Joining me as always are my cohorts, Petty and Galix. Let us get to the news, such as it is. Petty, why don't you start us off this week?
Let's see. Been a fairly quiet week. Just learned today that apparently my dad has carpal tunnel, so that's fun.
I'm like, does he still do surgery?
He doesn't do surgery. He packs instruments for surgery.
Okay.
And so yeah, that's been interesting.
Maybe a bold look at your future.
I guess fair, but I mean, we'll see.
And that's more you work with computers a lot, so, repetitive stress injury is a concern.
Yes. And yeah, we also did get a Nest camera floodlight, so we can point it out back by the pool. So if somebody decides they want to go jump in our pool, caught in 4K, motherfucker.
Do not be alarmed. Continue swimming naked. Aw, come on.
I mean, funny you say that, but we actually can talk to people on it, so if we really wanted to.
It's the right Simpsons reference for the occasion.
But yeah, that's gonna be a thing that will be kind of difficult figuring how we're gonna, go 2 stories up on the side of our house when I can't really, go up a ladder due to my physical issues. And until we figure out what's up with Dad's, carpal tunnel issues, it's going to be a while till we can get that put on the house.
Fun.
And then I guess tomorrow we're going to be starting the hot part of spring because it's going to be over 90. So I'm going to be in the pool. Y'all have fun.
I keep forgetting that it's not summer yet. Mainly because I live in Florida and summer started a month ago.
Summer doesn't stop. What are you talking? Wait, no, you're in temperate Florida. You actually do have not summer.
Yeah, it's like there are some semblance of seasons where I am at.
Yeah. Now, the farther south you go, the less that happens, but...
Yeah, that's less of a concern in, say, Miami. So, anyway.
And I guess the only other real interesting thing is July 20th. I'm possibly going to be at a Digimon card game regionals. They're currently overbooked, so they're going to have a lottery type thing to figure out who's actually going to be playing. So I may be in it, I may not. We'll find out. So it's going to be a lot of card testing until then.
Trying to fill that void.
Well, and just trying to figure out, what deck I want to use, how it matches up with other decks, in the meta and stuff like that.
Right. Uh-huh.
See
Go
what
go with it. Go with a rogue deck of I don't know, Numemon Rush. I know that's actually almost kind of a thing.
That's actually one of the best decks in the format. Right now I'm thinking about Grace Novamon because I actually just shut Numemon off completely, and it's hilarious.
Does it keep you from playing things by effect, or?
Dianamon, if something has no sources, it cannot swing.
Which when stuff gets played after it
Yep.
dies, it comes back with no sources.
Yep. So they're basically locked, and all they can do is sit there and watch as I go ham.
Some of them do have the ability to put stuff under them, and I guess if someone's doing Digipolice,
yeah, it's not perfect, but it will slow them down enough that I can just go for the big bang with Apollomon and then pretty much end it. And then I also have been, since I got my new Xbox 360, looking for all of my old games and making sure they're updated because the end is coming.
I thought it was already here.
Next month.
There we go. Well, yeah,
the Ned is here.
Yeah. It's kind of unfortunate because that was my formative years. You know, a lot of high school weekends were spent on Halo 3. A lot.
Yeah, it's like, and the Xbox 360 store is shutting down just shy of 20 years.
Yup.
Once again, what even is time?
Fucking tell me about it. I do need to go through and see what all games that look interesting that are going away forever that I need to grab. But yeah, that's something for next month for me.
Yeah, I think there's also like some weird instances where like Blue Dragon got delisted on the Xbox 360 store, but it's still available on like the Xbox One store or something like that.
Yeah, that's something I also need to look into.
It was weird.
Mm-hmm.
Now, granted, a full retail title can still be found in physical form. So
yeah. Though, did it have any DLC?
Blue Dragon?
Yeah.
I know it had updates. Like it had an extra hard mode added to it later. Like,
yeah, I guess
it's
I'll
Lost
have to...
Odyssey.
Yeah,
Lost
Odyssey was the
that
shit
had
show.
DLC.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I think that's it from me. So I guess next victim.
Well, Alex, that'd be you.
Not too much going on around here. I guess we have the next 2 Wednesdays off. That'll be nice because once is Juneteenth, which is a federal holiday now, and then the one after that is our work summer outing, which admittedly isn't no time commitment, but it's not having to actually do actual work, so should be fun, I guess.
You also scared me earlier. You're like, hey, what do I need to upgrade to Windows 11? Me internally, do not do this right now. Please, for the love of God.
No, I'm not doing it now.
I know.
I honestly don't really want to, but I also don't want to have... I got notices recently that Windows 10 is reaching end of life, and also... there were some updates
2 hours
for it,
before
so you never know.
You hit me with that, and I'm like, "Oh, please, no! Don't update now."
Oh no, yeah. It seems like the things I don't have are just things that need to be tweaked in the BIOS.
There's switches
allow
you just
them
need
to
to flip, and you're good.
Yeah, to allow them to use all of their invasive security stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Windows 10 isn't going into service until October of 2025, so there's still a year and some change there.
Is it? I thought it was October of this year.
Yeah, I thought it was October of this year, too.
Next year.
Are you thinking
like,
that's not the extended EOS you can buy for next year, though? Because I know you can pay extra for more updates to extend
well,
it another year.
this is going to be pertinent to my news update,
Ah,
actually. Like, I don't know. Well, Dogs, do you have anything else that you wish to share this week?
Not much. Video game wise, I've been playing Splatoon 3. It's been going pretty well. I did okay on the big run.
oh man.
There was a limit to how good that could do due to the fact that like half the stages are objectively bad, and the weapon loadout is extremely random. But other than that, yeah. Didn't get to Triumvirate clear. But yes, other than that, I think I'm done.
Okay. All right. It's my go. Well, I guess the top news of the week is not pertaining to me, but my mother, who a couple of days ago got her laptop fried.
Ooh.
Like, I mean, like, actually fried. Apparently, there was a power surge that fried the laptop motherboard.
Damn.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time that's happened for you, isn't it?
Like,
well, at least
it's because she doesn't use a surge protector.
Oh god.
Yeah,
yep.
I'm like,
like a smart person.
Anyway, so I get a call about that, and I go over and look at the thing, and it's I see the thing I see is like a partition error, an invalid partition error.
Ooh.
And I'm just like immediately, uh-oh. And she's like, she's all wondering, oh, what does that mean? I'm like, means bad things.
It means you've lost everything.
Yeah, it means some of the memory sectors in the motherboard have gone, or hard drive or something like that. It's there are a couple of problems that can cause this. None of them are minor.
Yes.
So
computer
she
equals
went
very bad time.
Yeah, so she went down to the computer repair people, and they said the motherboard was fried. Turns out it was going anyway because it's a 6-year-old laptop, or maybe even older, maybe 8.
Also, Petty Fan, I have to censure you because everyone knows that the correct way to say it is computer over problem equals very yes.
Okay, we can straighten that out later. Point is, she had to get a new laptop. She got a new HP something or other notebook or what. It's like one of their high-end jobs, because the place there gets those in bulk, so they get a discounted rate.
Yeah.
Also, they're really good at cloning hard drives, so all of her information was retained.
That was good, at least.
Yeah. This gets into the Windows 11 stuff because they told her that next year, Windows 10 is coming to end of service.
Yeah.
Like,
I just looked at it. Yeah, it is next year. For some reason, I thought it was this year.
Okay, then no hurry, but I do need to be thinking about it.
Yeah, the pop-ups are acting like it's, this year, but that is just Microsoft.
Yeah, and more to the point, like, the Windows 11 only laptops are coming next year. Like, which is it's like, I mean, that's probably when I'm going to have to hunker down and get the Windows 11 laptop.
When did you get yours?
21.
You may just be able to update.
I will note that it's telling me that this computer doesn't have enough juice to do that, but you might be right. I probably had the professionals do that given given what the recommended specs is telling me.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I don't want to lose something in the transition here.
And I'm also a little too far away to help you with it,
Right. But once again, that's something for next year me to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, on the other family front, just had a extended stay with the children. Like I said, they're spending weekends up here because it's the summer and they're off. And there's a weird dichotomy here. On the one hand, they are very easy to care for. On the other hand, they are also children with children metabolisms. That is to say that they are very much today's youth in they will spend hours in front of a screen. I cannot judge this because that is literally how I spend every day of my life.
I was about to say that, so they are us, 30-something adults.
Yeah, it's just, they tend towards the smartphones, the tablets.
Yeah.
Also, that's things that my brother gives them and he can control.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you plunk those in front of them, they're good for hours on end. It's just, when you're trying to watch a program and they're watching one of their programs at full fucking volume.
Oh, they haven't learned the art of the headphone yet.
Get them earbuds.
They do have headphones, but I don't know if all of them have headphones.
Yeah, well, make it not a suggestion.
The problem is that most phones and stuff don't have headphone ports, so you need to shell out for the Bluetooth ones.
Yeah, I'm like, though they do seem to be older Android stuff, so they should have the headphone jack. I'm like, I know they have headphones. It's just they don't use them all the time, or at least all of them don't. I'm like, the middle child. The middle child seems to be the best with the headphones. Like the other two, I'm like, there's been much yelling about turning the damn thing down while you're trying to watch a program or a movie or really anything.
Or at least take it into another room. Believe me, I've been to this hell before.
Yes, I'm like, and it's not that they're ignorant of this; they get reminded of it constantly. So I'm like, anyway. In terms of gaming, finished up We Love Katamari. Got all the Steam achievements.
Yeah, that's surprising easy to get all these Steam achievements for. I was expecting more.
Yeah. Well, it's because they don't have achievements for getting all of the stickers or the presents.
Also, I don't believe there are multiplayer achievements either, so hooray.
No, which is good. Well, that's good because, they didn't attach it to something that might be dead in a decade or whatever.
Yeah.
Roll over one of every armor object in the game.
Just ask anyone who has tried to get Chrome Pound achievements for the last 15 years. Anyway, currently I am playing The Saboteur.
The EA
which
one?
was that was kind of the leader of the pack of all of the games that they dumped onto Steam a few months back. It's very much 7th gen the game.
Yeah, I remember a friend of we went on a school trip and a friend of mine was playing that on his laptop and I'm like, yep, that's a game.
I'm like, it's at the same token, it is better than that framing would suggest. I'm
it's
like,
not bad, but you can definitely tell it was the epitome of that, the
I
360
wouldn't like.
generation.
It's almost the epitome. They didn't do one of my least favorite tropes of that generation, and that is the goddamn stamina meter. I'm like, I don't know how it escaped that, but I am forever thankful.
Yeah.
Because yeah, I'm one of the people who fucking hates a stamina meter. Oh, but it's not realistic. Like, motherfucker, it's not realistic to have everything here in black and white when to signify Nazi occupation.
Yeah, I was about to say the 30s?
Yeah, 1940s.
1940s were not black and white or sepia tone.
Yeah, it's like, I know that's how it looked because that's how all the media was filmed, but it's like, no, we could see in color then.
You mean Calvin's dad lied to me?
Fuck off.
Anyway, I think that's my news for the week. So, merrily we shall roll along to the interview portion of the broadcast. And joining us this week is Alan Gabbard of Positive Concept Games.
Hello. Hi.
Hello. How are you doing today?
I am doing all right. Just getting some sound effects work done for our game, Shrine's Legacy, actually.
Yes. Doing work while working.
Yeah, it's never ending when you're making a game, especially one this big.
Or in game media.
So we've been told.
Yeah.
Right. How we like to get started is we like to get to know the people behind the games, the studio, and all of that. And we start by asking this particular question. What got you interested in video games, both on a personal and a professional level?
On a personal level, oh boy. My first console I ever got was a Nintendo 64 when I was a kid. And let's see, I think it was like Diddy Kong Racing and Star Wars Shadows of the Empire were my first games ever. So, I mean, that was kind of the start of it, but the game that definitely made me fall in love with video games was The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, because I'll never forget my first time walking outside in Hyrule Field and just having my mind blown by how big video games could be. So, yeah, I would say that is the personal side of how I started falling in love with games. And the professional wanting to make games, I've wanted to make games ever since I was a kid. It was kind of like a dream, a dream job, more or less. And then later, I had met my best friend in high school, Joseph Duke, and he came to me and said, "Hey, you come up with a story and an idea for a game, and I'll program it." And that's when we started making Shrine's Legacy way back in high school. So, yep, that's where that began.
Okay, and I suppose it's worth asking, how long ago was high school for you?
2011, 10?
So you're my age group. Good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm around that age.
Welcome to your 30s. It sucks.
Yeah, it's it is what it is at this point in my life.
Quite. So, roughly speaking, you've been working on Shrine's Legacy for 14 years, 13 years?
To an extent, I would say this version of the game that you can see a demo for on Steam right now, I would say it started its development in 2016. Because before then, I don't think we even had this top-down format. So, yeah, I would say, I guess that would be 8 years now.
Still a long time to be working on a project.
Yes, we had a successful Kickstarter in 2021. So, I mean, you can look at the development and cycles, but if you consider the game getting its funding, it's a lot closer to being done now. It should come out. We were aiming for later this year, but it should be done earlier next year. It really should be, because we're on task with our publisher, indie.io. So yeah, we're on track to get it done.
That's good, at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say one thing I've learned about developing Shrine's Legacy is do not tackle a big project as your first project if you're going to be a game developer. Yeah, just don't do it.
I'm pretty sure if we had a nickel every time someone has brought that up, we would have our own physical studio in all 50 states.
I'm like, yeah.
I mean,
like, yeah.
It'll be cool to say that. Oh yeah, the first game I ever did was a big RPG fantasy game, but what's not cool is how long it took, because we lacked the resources, we lacked the understanding, we lacked cohesive development cycles. So yeah, it was definitely a mistake to make this game as our first commercial project, but we're too deep in it now. It's coming along really well. So yeah, it's going to be the first one we get done. Next project is going to be a lot smaller because we need a break from big RPGs.
I'm like, yeah, that tracks. Granted, what constitutes a large project does, depend on the size of the team. And I'm guessing it's just you're like two people developing a game?
Primarily, we commission a pixel artist to help us with the graphics. And because we want to get this game done in a timely fashion, we've also hired freelance map designers to help us map out the levels and areas. So that's a newer addition to the team. Well, I mean freelancers, so they're not technically part of the team, but they're basically part of the team, if that makes sense.
No, it comes up with frequency on this program. Like, usually when it comes to the music, like, but it's like usually people quantify, like major development plus freelancers. So,
yeah, I would say right now actively, we have 7 people working on Shrine's Legacy right now. But 2 core members, which is me and my best friend Joseph Duke.
Yeah. That's a fairly typical indie development makeup. Like,
yeah,
it's just at that scale, even something like Shrine's Legacy is a multi-year, all-consuming project.
Oh yeah, it is. All-consuming is a good phrase for it.
Believe me, we've seen it happen time and again. And not just like with role-playing games. I mean, we've had people shoot bigger, like full 3D at this level.
Yeah.
And it's about the same result.
Yeah. It's, I don't know, hopefully Shrine's Legacy does well enough and quit my day job, and it'll feel just like I'm doing one job full time, and I don't have to worry about splitting my responsibilities with 2 different gigs. One of them actually pays me right now, and the other one doesn't, and that being my game dev career. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, once again, that's a familiar refrain on the program. I'm like, and hopefully by the time the game's released, conditions will be better. Like, but it's always a roll of the dice when it comes to this scene, unfortunately.
Well, I think for me, it's my dream, and it's what I want more than anything, to just be making games for a living. Indie games, particularly, I'm not really interested in working for a giant studio where too much creativity gets lost in the sauce most of the time. If I finish Shrine's Legacy, I will be satisfied, honestly, because I can say I shot for the stars. I tried to make a dream come true. At least I tried, and that's good enough for me. So, and that's something I need to focus on and accept more than, oh, I need to do this for money. I need to do this for a living. Because at the end of the day, I like the art aspect more than the money aspect. I just want to be able to do this for a living. So,
once again, these are familiar themes to us. As the dichotomy between art and capital is a constant theme of these interviews. It kind of has to be.
fortunately.
Because I'm like, well, it's also, we tend to interview professionals at one level or another. It's like, if not people who are already working on a commercial project, people who are prepping their first commercial project, like you.
Yeah.
And with that comes the pressure of expectation to perform well more often than not. Like,
it can be a lot. Because I can tell you that when we started out, we weren't really getting as much attention, and I think largely because the art style wasn't as good as it is now. So definitely working on improving the art style has helped us tremendously as far as getting more attention, alleviating that pressure. Like, there was a lot of pressure early on to be on social media constantly and just, oh, I got to show our game off, blah, 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 blah. But now that pressure is a lot more eased off because we're at a point where Shrine's Legacy kind of gets enough attention on its own, which I'm grateful for.
Kitty wants to be heard.
Yeah, that's my cat. She is very loud and vocal.
So a cat.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like, anyway, getting back on task here. So at what point did Shrine's Legacy start getting that kind of attention?
Let me see. About the time the Kickstarter started, I think it became a little bit easier. March 2023, we updated the character sprites, and that really sent us off. So I don't know. It's like I can post something on social media, and it gets enough attention now that I don't have to worry about being online chronically. So it's a lot better for my mental health. So I would say the end of the Kickstarter, which was like November 2021, up to like March 2023 is when it just started snowballing. So yeah, around then.
Well, I mean, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully that will translate, because, yeah, that is always one of the hills to climb in this business.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've seen both sides of this coin. They pour their life and blood and everything into it, and it doesn't get the traction they need. And then there are some that we've seen that they put their lifeblood and everything into it, and it takes off like a rocket.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like, the biggest ones are the ones who actually put their money, so to speak, into the development project. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we put a lot of money into this project out of our own pockets.
Yeah.
So.
Not surprising. Like.
Yeah. It takes money to make money, as they say.
In this case, it takes money to make a game. You know, even though things are more accessible than ever, you still need to pay for things.
Yeah, mostly the pixel art for us, because we got pretty much everything else covered, including programming and music and story writing and all that. Just the pixel art was the big one.
Right. Right. So, as interesting as it is to go over the larger philosophy in the art of making games, it would probably do us well to get into focus with the game itself.
Okay.
Like, for example, for the uninitiated, what is Shrine's Legacy?
Shrine's Legacy is a 2D pixel art fantasy co-op action RPG. It could also be played in single player. The main villain is seeking to destroy the Sword of Shrine, which is the main protagonist's weapon, and the two main heroes journey together to restore the Sword of Shrine to its true power so that they can defeat the main villain, basically. And
Sounds like some fairly standard operating procedure when it comes to fantasy RPGs.
on the surface, yeah, for sure. I didn't for this first project, I initially didn't want to do anything too risky, too insane, too off the wall as a first project, but honestly, yeah, it kind of probably could have done more, taking more risks for as long as we've spent on developing it. But it's it's really about the execution at the end of the day. I think if something like Avatar: The Last Airbender is a huge influence on my writing style, as far as like character arcs and interactions, and I think the premise for Avatar: The Last Airbender is fairly one note, and seen it before, but that TV show's execution is so strong that it doesn't matter, and that's kind of what I aimed for whenever I wrote the story and revised the script a few times. So hopefully people appreciate the execution more than the simplistic premise.
I mean, fair enough.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose if you want to apply that to the video game world, Zelda would probably be the most preeminent example. Because, when you get down to it, most Zelda titles have a very simple premise.
Yeah.
That gets blown up very epically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
I was kind of aiming for a take on the classic Final Fantasy scenario. So like Final Fantasy 4 and 5 come to mind, where you fight the big bad armored guy. So
right.
yeah, but like, I don't know, strong focus on character development.
I'm like, it's an interesting focus, especially given the 16-bit nature of the game. Which is about when RPGs started really developing that aspect of their gestalt.
Mm-hmm. And also started shifting a little more towards the action focus, like what we saw with the Legend of Mana second Densetsu series.
Yeah. And I suppose this is a question that's probably popped up before, but it does bear asking. Did you take any influence from the Mana series here?
A little bit. The co-op aspect was a big influence because my best friend and I realized, hey, a lot of RPGs you cannot play in co-op. Why is that? So from the get-go, we had planned to make this game co-op, like the Mana series had done before. It's more like, what if the Legend of Zelda / Illusion of Gaia / Terra Enigma was co-op more than Secret of Mana?
Oh God, Terra Enigma! I think you're like the second person who's brought that up on this show.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's one of the best Super Nintendo games ever. So
yeah, Terra Enigma's like the secret best action RPG or RPG on the system, mainly because that's the one that missed the USA.
Mm-hmm.
Due to apparently religious references.
Yeah.
Because, like, I know by that point, Enix USA also went out of business, but Nintendo actually published Illusion of Gaia in North America.
Mhm.
And they're the ones who published Terranigma in Europe.
Yes.
So
it's I'd say it's the best action RPG on the system, period. Even better than like Trials of Mana. So I mean there's not a lot of action RPGs on the system, but I
True.
can't think of anything better than Terranigma. So
like it's really the Mana series, the Quintet trilogy, and Evermore.
yeah, exactly. I have not played Secret of Evermore at all. So, but
I had that one. Like Secret of Evermore is
It's a bit weird.
Yeah. It's it's got interesting ideas, interesting ambition, mediocre execution.
The gameplay is very similar to Secret of Mana because, it uses the same engine mostly. But the spellcasting system is a little bit cumbersome. The character writing and stuff is very American.
Mainly because it was written by Americans.
Yeah. But, it's very much so.
The big thing, though, is they have no co-op in that, even though you do the two-player thing.
Yeah, you're a boy and his dog, and you can switch control between the boy and the dog, but there's no way to control the boy and the dog at the same time, which is a shame.
And I think this is a good time to zero in on the co-op aspect. So is this local co-op, or can you play a co-op online as well?
it is local co-op for now. You can play online with Steam Remote Play or Parsecs if you have decent internet. Some people might struggle with that if they don't have good internet. We would like to do an online co-op aspect, but it proved to be a bit of a task early on in development, so we kind of just scrapped it. But we kind of want to come back to it once the game is post-launch.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, just from other people we've talked to / friends who develop, online netcode is a bugbear.
I
Say
mean,
the least.
Steam has made it better with Steamworks, but it's not perfect yet.
Well, I mean, I just remember Naka's endless complaining about online netcode.
Mm-hmm. I just know my friend Joe. He tried some kind of online thing years ago. Tried like online Pong, and he couldn't get it to work, and just decided that he doesn't want to mess with it for now. But after the game is launched, we'd like to get some kind of online co-op to play.
Maybe that is something that could be in the cards. I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
What engine are you using to build the game? Is it a custom engine, or is it like Unity, Godot?
It's Game Maker Studio 2, but I mean, everything made is from scratch with Game Maker Studio 2's capabilities. So I guess it's a custom engine, but it's made with Game Maker Studio 2.
Yeah, no, this would be quantified as a Game Maker game, since that's the development suite you're using.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when people talk about engine these days, it's more about the tool set that you're using. Like, do you work in Unreal? Do you work in Unity? Do you work in Godot? And so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So Game Maker, yes.
Yeah, because the era of the fully bespoke custom engine is kind of dead now, because Godot...
It's been dead for a couple of generations.
As it should be. There's
yeah,
no
kind
point.
of. because things like Godot, Game Maker, Unreal, Unity are all so good now. They're having to put in the time and pain in the ass to build your own engine isn't needed anymore. And for a lot of people, that was one of the biggest hurdles of making their game reality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I don't have a good transition for this, so I'll just transition. But I want to delve into the protagonists a bit. Like, who are this guy and girl? Are they actual characters? Are they avatars? Do they have names? Do you give them custom names? That kind of deal?
Rio and Rayma. Rio is the main protagonist, and Rayma is the deuteragonist of the story. Rio is the wielder of the Sword of Shrine. He has the blood of the shrine in his family, so that's why he's the only one who can actually wield the sword. And Rayma is a magic user who wanted to get revenge on the main villain of the story. And the story starts out where she's trying to steal Rio's sword, but it ends up that the main villain attacks Rio's village, and so he decides to journey with Rayma to restore the Sword of Shrine to its true power so they can defeat the villain. But yeah, they are fully fleshed out characters. They're not avatars. You can change their equipment in the game, and you can adjust their jewels, which gives them different unique abilities. But I mean, they are like a Final Fantasy cast. They are their own characters.
And there's no like changing like actual weapons. The weapons are what they got. They just
they get upgraded weapons, but they're the same weapons throughout the game. Yeah.
So like I can't give Rio a staff or a spear or something like that. He'll always have some type of sword.
Correct. Unfortunately, it was something that we did want to do, but it just proved to be too complex. And our philosophy in game design is keep it simple.
Yeah, and it's something that who knows what happens with Shrine Legacy if 2 ever happens, you know.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the things that made Secret of Mana so buggy.
Oh God.
Like just all the weapons.
There are definitely some known bugs that you obtain that you can encounter when changing characters or having characters swap weapons in less than expected places.
Yeah. Like, and how does the spell system work?
You have MP, like other action RPGs or turn-based RPGs, and spells work as both useful tools in combat and tools to solve puzzles, kind of like a Zelda game. I would say think like Link's tools in Zelda, but in our game it's magic. That's pretty much what magic is in this game.
Honestly, that's more Golden Sun.
I believe so. I haven't really played Golden Sun, but yeah. Or Lufia. Lufia is an RPG with... No, they have tools in that game, not magic.
Lufia is action RPG, and I don't know what you have for magic in that one.
Yeah, I don't think you use magic to solve puzzles, though. I think it's just regular.
I know you have pet monsters in that one.
Yeah.
Anyway, so in terms of co-op play, are the 2 characters always together, or are there like points in the story where they get separated?
There's points in the story where they will get separated. You can even see it in the demo a tiny bit when you get to the second town. But most of the time they are together. There is no friendly fire in 2-player mode or 1-player mode, so you can't hurt your ally with magic or melee hits. But it basically you're always going to have these 2 together most of the time throughout the game. But there are some instances where they are separated.
Okay, that's about what I was expecting. Because once again, the like Secret of Mana did that quite a bit.
Yeah.
For example, and I suppose it's worth asking, where is the game in terms of development right now?
It is. Let's see. We got a milestone done with our publisher recently. So, and we have, I don't know how many more milestones left to go. It's about 70, 65, 70%.
Final
Done.
milestone: release the damn game.
Pretty much, yeah. We definitely have several more months of development ahead of us, but it's getting there. I think one of the longest things we're going to be working on is cutscenes. That's probably going to take a few months to finish up, because that's like one of the last things we have to do.
Yep. Is the story at least all written? Just needs to have the cutscenes implemented, or is there still polishing up need to be done?
The entire story is written. It's all ready to go.
That's
including,
good, at least.
Including NPC dialogue is all written and ready to go.
So it's more of an implement the cutscenes and possibly, have the sprites act them and not, well, we still need to finish the story.
Yeah, no, that was the first thing we did, really, was like focus on getting the story done. Like, I don't see how you can make an RPG. I don't see how you can make a story-driven game without having the script done. I don't know. Some people go hog wild with their writing and their stories in game development. I've read horror stories, but just get the scenario done and have a plan.
I guess it also depends on the style, because there are some people who've written out their story first and then realize, it's taking a few years and realize that they hate the way they wrote it and ended up tearing it all up and redoing it.
I'm not like that. My philosophy and my thinking is this game's got to get done.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter if I think not everything's perfect, and that's fine. Just get it out there.
Yeah.
Make the character.
There's also the story interplaying with the game and deadlines.
Yeah.
Like, once again, going back to Secret of Mana, Lunar, the Silver Star story had this. There's an example of games where there was clearly story bits that were cut. For one reason or another. So, granted, we are talking about different circumstances. I imagine in a case like yours, since you essentially control all of the developmental aspects.
Yes.
The story and gameplay will work according to your specifications, more or less.
Yes, and my co-dev is kind of my personal editor, so he'll give suggestions, and he's like a second set of eyes to help me get clarity on it. And I'm not one of those writers who just hates everything that he writes. I feel like that's very amateur. Like, if you keep stalling on your writing process because you don't like what you wrote, it's like, get over it. Just go. And also get some feedback while you're writing. I think that's good advice, actually. Like, don't hide your writing. Like, share it with other people, particularly like someone who's critical of literature, and kind of like my friend is. So, I don't know. It just really helps a lot to have a second opinion, and then I can rewrite it. I can reprise the story as needed, but I don't know. I don't hate my writing. I know what some people do, and they get very fidgety about getting it out there, but I don't know. You just got to grow up and get it done.
Sometimes that's a legacy thing. Sometimes that's an emotional thing. Sometimes it's other reasons. Like, sometimes it's a fear of being critiqued. I mean, we've encountered that ourselves just this year. Like, we did a review of a game recently. Dev was crushed because we had to give it a bad review. And that's just kind of,
when it wasn't really all that bad of a review. It's just it wasn't to our personal taste.
Right.
Well, no, it wasn't to personal taste. It was because the game was, if I recall, in this specific instance, overambitious and kind of aimless.
Mhm.
You know, it's like we don't like giving negative reviews, but we have to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hate giving bad reviews, but
you
Yeah.
should be
Mm.
honest.
There is a
Yeah.
fine line between roasting an intentionally bad game and giving the constructive criticism to give the dev what they need to move forward.
And we have done the very occasional just this game sucks review, but that was like with games that were hopelessly broken and we didn't know the devs and all that stuff.
And even if we've done that for games that we do know the devs, and a lot of them do take it in stride because we do try to be constructive with our reviews.
I don't know. Well, hopefully you guys review Shrine's Legacy if you're into action RPGs. I mean, I don't know.
We can do that should you provide us with a copy when it comes out.
Yeah,
that's how that works.
Yeah.
I mean, I just appreciate honest feedback.
So far, I am enjoying the demo at least.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You got to get to the first dungeon though to get into the real meat. Which you're also talking, so it's probably taking you longer than it normally would.
Yeah. Luckily, we're kind of split half and half. It's one of the joys of being three-headed beast on here.
Right.
Yeah. Though it's probably time for the interview is getting low. So I will just ask a couple more questions. The first of which is about the demo. Did this demo come out for Steam Next Fest? Is it a time limited demo?
Not as far as I know. Our publisher hasn't told us that it's time limited.
Okay.
I hope it isn't, because I've always just been of the mindset, just keep your demo up. I think it's for marketing purposes when that's done, but I don't really agree with it. Otherwise, we have not had a Steam Next Fest yet. We were featured on IGN Live recently.
Oh man,
and that was pretty. Yeah, and that was pretty cool.
Okay.
And that was all thanks to our publisher, which our publisher is a big help in getting us a lot of attention.
Yeah. That does bring me to my next question, and that is the publisher of the game, Indie.io.
Yes.
How did you meet up with this entity?
He reached out to us, actually. I don't think it was too long after our Kickstarter. I think it was in 2022 we signed on with them. So, yeah, they reached out to us. I see a lot of indie devs, like, they're looking for publishers because they, want money. We didn't want money from our publisher, admittedly, but we didn't mind help with getting more exposure and getting into more events without us needing to do it ourselves or be at the events.
Yeah.
So that's been the relationship largely. But yeah, I feel bad for a lot of indie devs who are looking for a publisher. But we're kind of lucky in that we didn't really need money at the time. We've had to borrow a little bit of money now, but it's only a very insignificant amount compared to what I'm sure other indie devs need.
I'm remembering Cuphead. Yeah.
I mean, it paid off for them. So.
Oh yeah, it's one of the stories that paid off. We've seen the other side of the coin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep. And is this game going to launch just on Steam initially?
It's going to be on Steam, Epic, and Good Old Games initially for Windows PC. We're bringing it to Nintendo Switch as soon as possible after it launches on PC, and then followed by PlayStation and Xbox, hopefully, if things go well enough financially. It's coming to Nintendo Switch no matter what, though.
Are you
Yeah,
gonna
that's
utilize the Joy-Cons for the Switch version?
I mean, you'll be able to play the game with the Joy-Cons, but as far as like any weird gimmicks, no.
Well, just like you can hand a Joy-Con to your friend. You don't need both Joy-Cons for play.
Probably. Yeah,
Right.
since it's a co-op game, probably be able to play with the two separate Joy-Cons that way.
Yeah,
It
because
kind of comes down to how many buttons you need, or
Yeah,
how many sticks, really.
Yeah, I mean, you just use, I think in terms of PlayStation, so you got the four face buttons, you got the D-pad and the analog stick for moving, and you've got start, and you've got L and R, and that's it. I think that's all the controls.
yeah,
So
I think you'll be able to do that with a Joy-Con.
I think so.
Might
I hadn't
take
really
some
considered that. That's
funky
actually a good
mapping.
question.
That one of the
'Cause
other
I know-
jokes from our show is feature creep goes up when you come see us.
Yeah. Yeah, we know all about scope creep, but we've kind of got that under control these days. No, yeah, I never had thought of the Joy-Cons. That's a very good question. I don't play my Nintendo Switch with the Joy-Cons. I just play with a Pro controller because I'm a Chad like that. Joy-Cons have just always been really flimsy feeling, and I don't like.
Well, like if I had a Joy-Con or a Switch when I was younger, I'm a twin.
Yeah.
So it would have been real easy instead of having to throw down $50, $60 on a new controller, hand my sister the other Joy-Con and we could play together.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I spend a decent amount of money on video game hardware and software. So, but I can't expect someone who's younger, someone who doesn't have a job, to do such a thing. So, yeah, I get it. Yeah, no, we'll definitely be developing for all controls in mind on each system. So here's an incident where you're playing as the other character by themselves.
Yep.
It's actually really short, though.
Yeah. It's just to kind of let you know they exist and give you a chance to mess with their controls a little bit.
Yeah, but that was a question you had asked earlier, so.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess my final question at this stage is: have you figured on any sort of price point at this stage?
We're not 100%. We're not 100% certain. It's looking like maybe $19.99 US dollars, but we'll see. We're not sure yet.
Okay. I guess there is still time enough to figure that one out. Like,
yeah, it can be tricky.
No doubt.
People don't want to pay a lot for indie games even though they're worth more.
Yeah. It also really depends on the indie game. You could probably get more with an RPG than, say, a small 2D platformer.
Well, I think Hollow Knight was like $15 when it came out. It's worth way more than that, in my opinion. So,
but especially, we played Hollow Knight. It's fun.
Yeah, we talked to the devs.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The amount of devs we've actually talked to do surprise a lot of people.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
I mean, keep in mind that's before Hollow Knight really hit it big. Like it had come out on the PC. They were still working on the expansions, and before it came out on the Switch. And this is very well before Silk Song was
now
announced.
That Silk Song's been mentioned, add 3 months to the dev timer.
Anyway,
get it done someday.
Alan, it was wonderful having you on the program and talking about Shrine's Legacy here. Certainly an intriguing game, and we will keep an eye on it as it goes through its development process.
Thank you.
And no problem. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule and being with us here today. Right. So once again, the game is Shrine's Legacy. You can go and play the demo now on Steam. And also be sure to wishlist it. That's a thing that helps with the algorithm on Steam, apparently. So
it also helps you be notified when the game comes out and goes on sale.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Right. So with that in mind, Petty, play us to the next segment. All right. So welcome to the topic of discussion for the week. This time we are talking about the Xbox Game Showcase 2024.
Also known as the interesting show of the last 2 weeks.
At least certainly the most interesting program.
Yeah, I'm not even going to say that this had like a particular amazing showing, but it did have very few games that I couldn't tell apart.
Yeah,
also
compared to
at least a
lot
few
of
actual interesting ones.
Yeah, compared to a lot of Microsoft conferences we've sat through over the years, this was a lot less white noise.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
and also,
believe me,
I mean, there was the uproarious laughter to the Xbox One E3 event.
that was legendarily bad.
Yeah,
and it wasn't even the Xbox's E3. It was their television show that they did that we'll probably have to look at one day.
Oh god, yeah, because that was just before we went video. Fuck.
That was when the show was in its first year of existence.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was during the Knock and Ogre.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, it's interesting to note that they've shortened it back to Xbox games instead of lengthening it out. To add Activision Blizzard to the conglomeration.
Mm-hmm.
Like it used to be Xbox plus Bethesda there for a hot second.
Yeah, or plus
Now
whatever their hotness du jour is that week.
Well, no, it was to signify the two publishers. Now that they are anywhere from 3 to 5, like because it looks like Activision and Blizzard are separated. I honestly don't know how that works. Like, anyway, even though it's just Xbox Games Conference, Activision and Blizzard were very much there. In fact, Activision was the arguable headliner because for your throwback to the Xbox 360 days, the conference led off with a goddamn Call of Duty game. Like, God, it was like 2008 or whatever all over again.
Yep.
It's like, not only did they lead off with Call of Duty Black Ops 6, they dedicated the last half an hour to a Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Direct or whatever. Like they literally called it a Call of Duty Black Ops 6 Direct. I'm like, the influence that Nintendo Directs have had on the industry is interesting, if nothing else. I'm like,
that's something to dissect at some point.
Yeah. I'm like, and I will say that I had about the same interest that I always did with a Call of Duty game, and that is say absolutely fucking zero.
Yeah. I mentioned in during reviews, but I was more of a Halo kid growing up.
But I do have to acknowledge that Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Call of Duty is one of the biggest franchises ever. So,
yeah, it'll move more numbers than we'll probably ever see in our lives, but
like it's probably going to be the top selling game of the year. It usually is. Like, honestly, it's the only times that that doesn't happen is usually when Rockstar releases a game. But oddly enough, it didn't happen last year thanks to that Wizard game. Like, anyway, But moving away from Call of Duty, and just to mention it briefly, there were a bunch of updates to previously existing live service titles.
Mm-hmm.
None of which we cared about.
Yeah, for the most part.
It's like, it's like you got your requisite updates to Sea of Thieves, Elder Scrolls Online, Diablo 4, since that's part of the Microsoft family now. Yada, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Starfield, Fallout 76.
Yeah. Like
World of
Starfield.
Warcraft is not really, but it's another long runner that's getting an update. So
yeah, I'm like Starfield Shattered Soldier or whatever. Was probably the most interesting one, if only because they framed it as sort of a sci-fi horror thing. I'm like,
right.
It's not what Starfield needs, but that looks like what you're going to get. So, with that out of the way, some of the new stuff or expanded stuff. I guess we can start with Perfect Dark. Now granted, Perfect Dark has got announced in 2018, but was its. Well, Perfect Dark has not exactly been. How do I put this?
current.
It's been it's been kind of a hot mess. Like, honestly, a lot of Microsoft games have been this. It's not just, AAA game development takes a long time. It's also, this was supposed to be the debut of Microsoft's homegrown development studio, The Initiative.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been a lot of problems with that. The least of which, apparently, like The Initiative didn't know what size it wanted to be, and a whole bunch like they had to bring in help, and this is being formally co-developed. Mind you, when we're talking about AAA game development in this day and age, there is not a title out there that doesn't have a ton of support work on it. But in this case, it's a formal, this name appears in all the trailers kind of deal, versus, say, what Keywords or Certain Affinity or Sumo Digital, any number of support work that gets done. They get mentioned in the credits, they don't get mentioned in the PR material. That's the difference. So, the official co-developer on this game is Crystal Dynamics. Day of Tomb Raider fame, among others. So this is looking to be a full reboot of the franchise. Also, curiously absent is the name of Rare.
This was one of Rare's, original projects.
Yeah, Rare is probably taking an advisory role because it is their franchise. Even on stuff that they didn't develop,
is anybody from original Rare still there though?
Yes. Worth noting, the current studio head has been a long time Rare worker. There aren't many left.
Yeah, because I remember there was a fairly large exodus during the Kinect era because they weren't being able to do anything.
Right, other than Kinect games.
Yeah.
But, Mark Breckenridge, he's been there since, the 16-bit days, if I'm remembering correctly. Point is, even on stuff like Killer Instinct for the Xbox One, the new Battletoads game, Rare still supervised because it's their IP. And presumably that is also going on here because it's still using the characters and scenario that Rare created back in the day.
Yeah.
It's just essentially they flipped the script. As Joanna Dark is now working for Datadyne and fighting against Daniel Carrington. As somebody who played a lot of Perfect Dark back in the day, this is all sorts of weird and wrong, and I don't like it.
And we're gonna definitely have to see how this one pans out. If it's like some sort of,
No.
Well, even the trailer itself was suggesting that like, something is up with her loyal. Like, she's working for one group, but then there's something up with that.
Right. It's probably going to feed into the narrative because, like, how this is like. It may be another Perfect Dark Zero situation. Like, believe me, I get why they want to pretend that Perfect Dark Zero didn't happen. Like, we'll probably talk about Perfect Dark next week, like the old one.
So get the Xbox ready. Got it.
I'm like, barring a Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, there has been rumors that one may drop this week.
Well, a Nintendo Direct is happening this month. We don't know when.
Yeah, there have been rumors, but until frickin' Nintendo says something like the day before, as is custom.
Anyway, a proper look at State of Decay 3. This was another game that was just announced way too early. Like, apparently when they announced it, they didn't have anything but a CG trailer. I'm like,
I think I have this one down as zombie game I don't care about.
Basically.
I mean, yeah, it's like, I will say zombie games are less prevalent than they used to be. They're still prevalent, don't get me wrong, but it's not like every other game is a zombie game like it was, say, 10 years ago.
Yep.
Like,
great dark zombie game.
Yeah. I'm like I said, there was a lot shown off here. South of Midnight finally shows off its first gameplay, and it's throwing people off because of the strange creative direction that they went here. Because the cutscenes, they're all stop motion. Like,
it did look noticeably low frame rate, and the type of stop motion it is didn't necessarily. It wasn't immediately obvious that it was stop motion rather than lower resolution polygons or whatever. I ultimately thought it looked pretty good. The gameplay doesn't look super original, but they're doing some interesting things with the aesthetic and the settings. So
definitely points for trying something new, even if it isn't our bag.
Yeah, I'm concerned because this is from the developers of We Happy Few. I'm like, hopefully Microsoft has infused them with enough resources because the problem with We Happy Few.
I think Adam may be having technical difficulties.
I'm sure.
You is
you there, Adam?
Swung for the fences, but was really hampered. Let's see, Rebellion Developments is finally doing something that isn't a Sniper Elite game.
Which one is that? You were lagging out a bit there.
Yeah, you were just talking about We Happy Few and just like bugged out, and we didn't hear most of what you said.
No. Lagging out. Sorry. Rebellion is doing a new game that isn't Sniper Elite, or Judge Dredd, or Rogue Trooper. I'm like, you laugh, but at the start of the Switch, Rebellion tried to sell us on Rogue Trooper Redux, a remastering of their 2006 Xbox third-person shooter, which was like the most 2006 third-person shooter you could imagine. Only with...
And he might be fading out again.
Hello?
We hear you, but you're roboting hard.
It's not even roboting for me. It's like it just stops coming through for a few seconds, and then starts for a couple seconds, and then stops for a few more seconds.
Technical problems. Anyway, the game is Adamfall. All we
At
got
first, I thought this was more Fallout.
Yeah, I'm like, it's been called Fallout London for very obvious reasons. Like, probably not far off the mark. Probably the most interesting game that wasn't Nights was Sandfall Interactive's Player Obscure Expedition 33.
Daring to be turn-based in this day and age.
Yes. I'm like... And people were complaining about it. It's like... Once again, game of... Like,
we have no idea what it's like. We lost all of that.
Yeah, every single bit of that was lost.
For fuck's sakes.
I'm thinking
I'm going to wrap it up here.
Yeah, let's say in the interim, you may want to reset your internet equipment.
I'm going to wrap this up here and now because of all the roboting. Like, anyway, so that brings us to an end to another episode of Fragments of Silicon. Sorry, I jumped the gun there a bit.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for a new episode of Moonhawk Studio Presents. Like,
yeah, it's going to be about 45 minutes for anyone who showed up for that. So get your snacks, get your drinks. We will be having, I'm probably going to butcher this. I'm sorry, Osteria? I probably butchered that. She's the creator of Ree's Rapture. So we're going to be talking about that. And then her other project, ARG Digest. And if we have time, we may talk a little bit about Executioner X. But until then, here's your spiel, Adam.
All right. No Friday show this week. And coming up on the Sunday reviews, we have reviews for Seven Doors, Aquascapers, Volgar the Viking, and Zool Redimension. So until next time, I shall wish you good gaming.